Your brain is not designed to tell you the truth. It is designed to keep you emotionally safe. That statement feels wrong to most people. We prefer to believe that our thoughts are rational, objective, and grounded in facts. We assume that if we think carefully enough, we will arrive at the truth. But psychology reveals something far less comfortable. Your brain evaluates reality through one primary question, often without your awareness. Does this threaten my emotional stability? If the answer is yes, your brain does not investigate further. It protects first. This mechanism is called emotional reasoning. It means you don't decide what is true based purely on evidence. You decide based on how safe or unsafe an idea makes you feel. And the most dangerous part of emotional reasoning is this: it does not feel emotional. It feels logical. It feels reasonable. It feels like clarity. That is why intelligent people believe false things. That is why strong arguments often fail. And that is why genuine self-awareness is rare. Let's slow this process down. Imagine receiving calm, measured feedback. Nothing aggressive, nothing insulting, just information that suggests you may have made a mistake. Before you consciously think, your body reacts. A tightening in the chest, a subtle heat in the face, a quiet discomfort that appears without words. This reaction comes first, thought comes second. Once the emotion appears, your brain immediately looks for relief. It does not ask, is this feedback accurate? It asks, how do I make this feeling stop? So the mind begins to reshape reality. They don't understand the full context. They're being unfair. They're projecting their own issues. These thoughts don't feel like guesses. They feel like conclusions. That is emotional reasoning in action. The belief feels true because it reduces discomfort, and the faster the discomfort fades, the more convincing the belief becomes. This is not a character flaw, it is a survival strategy. For most of human history, emotional threat meant social threat, and social threat meant exclusion. Exclusion once meant loss of protection, resources, and safety, so the nervous system evolved to treat criticism, rejection, and shame as danger. Your brain reacts to emotional threat the same way it reacts to physical threat, with defense. Defense is fast, much faster than reflection, much faster than logic. This is why emotional reasoning is almost impossible to detect from the inside. It feels like thinking, it feels like certainty, it feels like being right, but certainty is not truth. Certainty is an emotional state. Certainty calms the nervous system. It removes tension. It restores a sense of control. Doubt does the opposite. Doubt creates instability, and the brain dislikes instability, so it prefers beliefs that feel solid, even if they are inaccurate. This pattern appears everywhere. In relationships, it sounds like, if they really cared, they would just know what I need. That belief feels true because it protects you from vulnerability. It removes the need to ask. It removes the risk of rejection. At work, it sounds like, you don't recognize my value. Sometimes that is accurate, but sometimes it is protection against the discomfort of realizing you might need to grow. In self-identity, it sounds like, that's just the way I am. That sentence feels stable. It ends the conversation, and it protects you from change. Notice what all these beliefs have in common. They reduce emotional discomfort in the present moment. They stabilize your internal state. Relief becomes the standard for truth. This is why emotional reasoning is so convincing. It works. It calms anxiety. It preserves identity. It restores emotional balance. But protection always has a cost. The more your brain prioritizes emotional comfort, the less access you have to reality. And without reality, meaningful change is impossible. This is where many people become stuck. They mistake emotional consistency for psychological health. They feel stable, so they assume they are well. But stability can also be stagnation. Growth is destabilizing by nature. It requires confronting information that challenges how you see yourself, and the brain resists that. This is why insight often hurts. Not because it is cruel, but because it removes protection. When a belief dissolves, the emotion it was blocking surfaces: shame, fear, sadness, uncertainty. The mind would rather defend a false belief than feel those emotions. This is why people argue so intensely. They are not defending ideas. They are defending emotional safety. Most conflicts are not about facts. They are about protection. When someone challenges your belief, they are not just questioning an opinion, they are threatening the structure that keeps your inner world stable. So the brain reacts as if under attack. This is also why defenses often disguise themselves as principles. Fear becomes high standards. Avoidance becomes strong boundaries. Control becomes knowing your worth. The language sounds healthy. The function is protection. This does not mean these concepts are invalid. It means they are frequently used defensively. The problem is not having defenses. The problem is mistaking defenses for truth. So how do you interrupt emotional reasoning? Not with force, not with self-criticism, and not with logic alone. Logic does not override emotional threat, safety does. The first step is slowing the process down. Instead of asking, "Is this thought true?" ask a different question. What emotion would I have to feel if this thought were not true? This question changes everything, because it reveals the purpose of the belief. If the answer is, "I would feel ashamed, I would feel scared, I would feel inadequate, I would feel rejected," then the belief is doing a job. It is protecting you from an emotional experience. That does not automatically make the belief false, but it does mean it is biased. Bias is not a failure, it is information. It shows you where the nervous system feels threatened, and that is where real psychological work begins. You don't dismantle emotional reasoning by attacking it. You dismantle it by increasing your tolerance for the emotion underneath it. When the emotion becomes survivable, the belief becomes flexible. This is why insight requires emotional capacity, not just intelligence. You cannot think your way out of a defense you are emotionally dependent on. You have to feel what the defense is protecting you from. And that is why most people stay the same. Not because they are unaware, but because awareness comes with discomfort. The brain chooses comfort over truth by default. That is not a flaw, that is design. But living entirely by default leads to a narrow life. A life where the same patterns repeat, the same conflicts return, the same explanations recycle themselves. Because the mind keeps choosing emotional safety over clarity. Clarity requires conscious resistance. Not resistance against yourself, but resistance against automatic comfort. It means allowing uncertainty, allowing emotional exposure, allowing the possibility that a belief exists to protect you, not inform you. This is not about self-blame, it is about self-honesty. And self-honesty is destabilizing at first. Most people believe awareness is enough to change, but awareness without emotional capacity only creates frustration. You can see the pattern clearly and still feel unable to stop repeating it. This is where many people turn insight into self-criticism. They tell themselves they should know better by now. But shame does not dissolve defenses, it strengthens them. When the nervous system feels judged, it doubles down on protection. So change requires a different approach. It requires learning to stay present with uncomfortable emotion without immediately escaping it. This is not emotional suppression, it is emotional tolerance. Tolerance means allowing the feeling to exist without needing a story to justify it. No explanation, no defense, no immediate meaning, just sensation moving through the body. When you can do this, the brain no longer needs to distort reality to protect you. The belief loosens because its job is no longer necessary. Reality becomes less threatening when emotion becomes manageable. This is how perception changes naturally, not through force, but through safety. Over time, this creates a different relationship with your own mind. You stop arguing with your reactions. You stop immediately believing every thought that appears. Thoughts become information, not commands. Emotions become signals, not threats. And gradually, truth becomes less dangerous than illusion. This does not make life easy. It makes life honest. And honesty is quieter than comfort, but far more stable, because it is built on reality, not avoidance. When you stop needing beliefs to protect you, they can finally tell you the truth. And that is the moment growth becomes possible. Not dramatic, not loud, but deeply real, and lasting change begins there now quietly within you.